Have you ever sat in a meeting where you know when you should have shown up, but you didn't speak, you didn't contribute, and then you're sitting there saying to you, kicking yourself and saying, why didn't I say that? When Sharon said this is exactly what was on my mind. And this is not because you didn't want to. This is because you doubted yourself. So one of the things that I want to talk to you today about is the confidence gap. This is a big issue that many people, including myself, experienced. And I know many of you are experiencing it now. I know people who are introverted and in leadership roles, and they don't often speak up because they don't feel comfortable. But leadership isn't about comfort. Leadership is about saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and also reading the room to be able to get people to receive what you say. So let's break this wide open so you don't stay small in the rooms you need to be big in. I am the Millennial Coach. Welcome to the core. And I thank you very much for tuning in and subscribing and also listening. I really want today to be an opening for you to start building your confidence in the gaps that are showing up in your life. So let's go. Yalla, Yanko.
Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul. And you're tuned in to the core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to the core. Don't forget the ghetto. With the Millennial Coach. Don't forget the ghetto. 'Cause it's the best show.
So what is the confidence gap? What do you think it is? In your mind, you're thinking, not when, I'm not someone who is seen or nobody cares or like, no, that is not a confidence gap. Confidence gap is between your competence and your confidence, is when that matches or doesn't. The problem is we have competence, but we don't have a confidence. But what we have in a lot of workplaces is confidence and no competence. So we have multitudes of issues that we need to sort out. Studies show that men apply for jobs when they meet only 60% of requirements, in comparison to women who apply for jobs with 100% of the requirements. So basically, the insight that gives me is that we are waiting for permission just because of our gender. And even though men actually apply for roles that they may only have 60% of the criteria, they do it with risk. Many women may have been out of work because of having children, and may be out of work through, and usually women are left to take care of elderly parents in comparison to men. So there's a lot of gaps. But ladies, I will say to you now, you don't have to wait. You got 2 brain cells up there, apply for the job. You got 10 brain cells, you need to just make sure that the interview's on point. And if you've got a full head of brain cells, you're gonna smash it when you enter into the workplace. So that isn't the problem. The problem is the confidence that's missing. So why do smart people like you and me, and I've been there, undervalue themselves? The first thing is overthinking. The thing that we have as humans is that we overthink, and we are living so far into all the bad things that could potentially happen, we haven't even given ourselves a chance. Smart people are great at analyzing, but you know what happens? Analysis paralysis. This is what happens to smart people. And sometimes I think it's better not to be too intelligent, because it actually gives you space to be creative. And sometimes that free-flowing energy, that alpha state, if you understand what that means, that allows you to live in your now and in your great genius. In order to deliver something, that you usually wouldn't deliver because you are at peace with where you are, whether you're applying at 60% or even 70%. But don't wait to 100% because nobody is perfect. The second thing is perfectionism. I've spoken about this before. You set impossible standards. Now, I'm going to talk about relationships. I know we're all sick of watching these YouTubers and Instagram people. The people that haven't had a relationship for 15 years are trying to tell you how to date. Or the people that are cheating are trying to advise you on how to be married. Yeah, we're not listening to those ones. But what I do want to highlight is women, and I can only speak from a female perspective, we have this long list of all these what we want for men. Now, no one is going to be perfect, and you will never find 100% of everything in one person. It's impossible. Hence the reason you need to have people around you that service different parts of you. So your partner is going to be able to give you a certain percentage because of what they give themselves. But also you can find a lot of great things in other people. So you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So imposter syndrome, you tend to know that, oh, I got the job and I'm in the room, but you actually don't realize that you're making yourself invisible by being quiet. Smart people, because we're there overthinking, we're over-intellectualizing our answer. And then you'll get the person that's not so smart will just think, oh, well, I'll just say this. And then everyone thinks what they're saying is actually magic. So I actually, now one thing I do, and I do it well, I always say, may I interject if people are having a meeting? And I always say, if I really do agree, I want to agree with Simon because I think that if we can accelerate X, Y, and Z. So it really shows that I am visible. I actually take control of my meetings. And sometimes you have moderators in meetings. Be aware that the moderator is there to keep the meeting flowing. But just if you want, and sometimes moderators can be a bit overpowering. So what I would say, if you're really, really intrigued by something someone said, just say, to add to that, I really feel X. I can see, oh, I have visibility on Y. So think about the context of when you're speaking, when you're overthinking and imposter syndrome's trying to kick in, what you need to say. The fourth thing is visibility. Let's be honest, being seen can be scary. I've had a client, she said to me, I just want to be invisible. I just want to make money and go home. You know, I've got kids now, blah, blah, blah. And as coaching sessions went on, I started to kept revealing to her, you actually want to be visible. For some reason, you think having children is now time to be invisible. So sometimes we create a limited belief because of circumstance. Circumstance doesn't dictate your future, circumstance dictates your now. Something's happening now doesn't mean that that is going to be like that for the rest of your life. Children grow up, children become adults. Then what are you going to say? You're not blaming your children anymore for the fact of lack of visibility. The thing that people are scared of being visible is people are scared of being judged. But hiding will guarantee a level of stagnation, and who cares what people think? Sometimes I say dumb stuff and I'm like, you know what? Someone nodded, so they liked it. So I want to talk about a client I had, and for the sake of the show, I'm going to call her Anna. Anna was overqualified, and every time I thought she had the opportunity to go for a leadership role, she kept saying she wasn't ready. She said, oh, I think about it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thinking about it is like not deciding whether or not you're going to lose weight today. Because when you decide, your habits change. So if you decide to lose weight, guess what? You start exercising. Maybe you start going for a walk, and it might be just 10 minutes. You walk to the end of the street and come back. And then you say, okay, I'm going to replace my bacon sandwich every morning with just eggs and a few extra egg whites. So you've done 2 micro doses of positive change, just 2, and stick with that. So with Anna, she kept saying, every time there was a role, she said, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. So after 3 sessions, I was like, listen, man, see, I'm that kind of person. I'm the coach that will say, right, we need to accelerate and I want to see some growth. Because you can't keep coming to me. I'm the kind of coach that you need me just for 6 to 8 months. This whole let's be having coach or therapist for 15 years, sack them. Because that means there's no transformation, it's stagnation, and people are getting paid off your misery. I believe that you need to be efficient and you need to be sufficient enough for your client to see transformation within a very short space of time. And it also limits procrastination. So there was a time I said, right, I'm actually gonna put a pause on our program unless you decide to take a step forward, because I feel like you're wasting money. One thing, if you're a real coach, you will know that it's purpose over money. I need to see results over money, because the money is what you're paying me to facilitate the result, but you're actually not taking the action. So there's something that I may not be able to transmit inside you to actually take the action. So when I threatened her, not physically, just with pausing the program, because I don't want to do a program where people are not succeeding. When I made that decision, and it's conscious, because you cannot invest nothing. She decided to apply for a role she wanted. And you know what? She got it, but I also encouraged her to negotiate more money, which she received. She actually received more than she negotiated, because she got more perks. Why did she become successful at this? She became simply successful because she started to change how she saw herself. She saw herself as a leader and not just an employee. So whatever it is that you want, I am a dynamic leadership coach, and I'm not talking, people say life coach. Leadership is life, in my opinion. Why do I do what I do? Because I know people have the capacity to change. So I want you to start having some actionable tools. So put a collections list together, an evidence list together. So I want to get you to put some stuff together. Start collecting proof of your wins, your promotions, people that said thank you emails, feedback, achievements. Build a folder in your phone or on your laptop to highlight where your evidence of success is. So the 5-second rule, although I call it the deadline, the starting deadline rule, I don't call it, this is Mel Robbins, my homegirl, another fellow coach. When you hesitate, count to 5 or count back from 5, then speak, write or act. So if you're like, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then go. So that actually interrupts a spirit of doubt. I streamline because I like to take my time to do stuff. So if I know I have to do something, I will give myself a deadline to start on that very day. So I would say, okay, I need to get to do X. I'm gonna start at 11 o'clock. I can muck about, do whatever I want before 11 o'clock, but on the dot at 11, all games away, and now it's time to actually get in the game to play to win. So micro dares. Every week, dare yourself to do something. One thing that feels slightly outside your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is a place you go to die. Your comfort zone isn't a goal. Perfection isn't a goal. Progression is a goal. Another thing that I think people lack is asking good questions. People ask to me very dumb questions because they don't want to challenge themselves. And they ask questions that are not related to them. They want to ask questions related to you, so the focus is external rather than internal. That's why people ask dumb questions, because if you're asking questions about, do you think that you're really good at it? No, do I think you're good at it? Not if I'm good at it. And the reason I'm saying that is because I know so many people who have taken permanent residence, and I'm praying that it will be temporary at some point, a permanent residence in their comfort zone. And their comfort zone builds procrastination, laziness, and also when you challenge them, they get into a right mood. When you ask better questions, it shifts energy because people will then be intrigued to answer you. I remember when I was at university and our lecturer, Chris, I can't remember his last name, but I actually sent him an email when I needed a reference to do my MBA and I was living in the Middle East. And he was so chuffed that I messaged him. And to tell you why he was chuffed, when I was in class, we were doing desktop publishing with him. So we were building magazines and on Adobe Illustrator, and before it was called Photoshop Illustrator. And sometimes we'll be doing our lectures and we'll be doing the theory and all that. And then one time I asked him, he's been married at the time for like 25 years. So I said to him one day, I said, Chris, is it hard to be married? And he actually paused because he thought I was being disrespectful or trying to embarrass him in the class. I said no. Then he actually realized I was asking him a genuine question because he was talking about he had gone to India. I'll never forget this conversation. He'd gone to India and he felt really low because he saw a lot of poverty, even when he was on the beach in Goa. And his wife wasn't that bothered, but he was bothered, if I can recall. This is like 20-something years ago, 30 years ago, this conversation. And that's why I asked him, is it hard to be married? Because you have opposing views, especially when it comes to poverty. How do you get over someone not being that pressed about poverty and you're bothered about it? It would bother me. I know it would bother me. And to be married to somebody, that must be frustrating, but you married them for a specific reason. So you've got to really think, when you're asking questions, are the questions going to actually prompt a conversation of substance? Or is it just nonsense, fresh air that you're just trying to look relevant? And this is why pop stars fail, or any celebrity fails. You're doing stuff to look like Madonna. I think Madonna is one of the greatest musicians of all time. Whatever she's done to her bum to stay relevant, and yeah, fet. So if you don't know what that means in our language, it ain't cute. Madonna doesn't need all of that, all this stuff in her. She doesn't need it. She was naturally beautiful. And I believe that she will naturally grow beautiful. And yeah, a little bit of nip and tuck, but don't be extreme. A reflective journal. I love a journal. I love a journal. When you are waiting for your career to change, you are leaving your destiny in someone else's hands. So your micro dare, you will commit to applying for a role of punching above your waist. You might even ask someone above your dating pool out for coffee. You might decide, I'm going to introduce myself to one of the senior leaders and ask if there is an opening because you're interested in working in their area. You might not be interested, but you know what? You never know where that conversation will take you. So in a reflective journal, highlight one of the micro dares on a weekly basis, just one dare you want to do a week, and see how that shapes you. Because all we want to see with confidence is it grows. It takes a shift and it grows. And you start let me make one thing clear. It's very nerve-wracking when you start doing new stuff. I know for a fact. So here's the thing. People don't rise above their level of intelligence, okay? They don't. They rise above their level of confidence. And confidence is built by doing small, brave things every time you get the opportunity. So your homework. So I'm gonna double dare you to do a micro dare, double dare you. And that might mean that you might dress a certain way all the time. You might wear a certain color all the time. Change the color. Go and buy something you wouldn't normally buy and wear it next week. Change your hair. Even join a group that you have been interested in, but you've not had the confidence to join. So I'm gonna actually drop in the comments down below, not even in the comments, my confidence gap worksheet. And I want you to use it in order to help you build your confidence, right? So I'll create this and I'm gonna give it to you. And so I want you to start thinking about, what do I need to change? So So please like, share, and subscribe. You are my people, and I really appreciate and love you for watching. I'm the Millennial Coach, and you've been locked in to the call. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul, and you're tuned in to the core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to the core. Don't forget the ghetto. With the Millennial Coach. Don't forget the ghetto. 'Cause it's the best show.